Hello, everybody. David R. Becker here with Becker Art in my office still. Haven't made it to my studio yet. Still working on getting that thing good. And so tonight we're going to be doing this nice scene, a boat scene, my favorite kind of scenes to paint. Boat scene. Actually, ships and a tugboat. And I want to thank, I just did a test on Monday. I did a test Zoom class and it worked out really well. We had 25 people in there and we had a real good time. I know there's about 75 of you that wanted to get into that class, and I will do more of those test classes, and we're going to do a couple more of those. And so we're going to do one in the morning and then one in the evening again on the same day. And so the rest of you who signed up or didn't sign up but asked me to maybe one of those classes, I put your name down and I'll have to ask you guys when you want to do it, in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, I mean. And so we're gonna still do a couple of more of those test Zoom classes. Worked out really well. The biggest thing was that you had to make sure they have a good camera, and actually a lot of people use two cameras, and I may make it a little bit less amount of people because it seemed like 25 was a little bit too much with everybody having two cameras, one on themselves and one on the work. But we're gonna make it work, and I think we had a really good time of doing that. All right, so next week, actually tomorrow, I leave for Florida, and I'm gonna be doing a workshop down there. Come back on Saturday, and so this next week, I'm not sure. I will probably have a Thursday class, but it may be a plein air one where I'm outside and just gonna go outside and paint. And so I'm not sure if we're gonna do a paint along as so much as maybe I'll do a demo. We'll see. I'll check out my newsletter. And of course, check out my newsletter. Anytime you want to check out my newsletter, go here. And sign up on the bottom in my newsletter and my website at BeckerArt.net. And let me show you the supplies real quick for anybody who's new, wants to know what I'm using. We're using these Holbein colors and Holbein brushes and all that stuff, and so that's all good. Let's go to our value study and let's get painting. So here's our value study and here's our scene. The scene is it looks a lot like Duluth when I go up to Duluth a lot, and but this scene is awesome. I love boats. I love painting boats, and so this one is going to be. I'm just really enjoy this one. As you can see, I did the value study, and the value study, I always look for the big darks. And oh my gosh, my pointer's not in the right spot. Hold on, let me see. Here we go. So this part right here, here, and here, all these darks. That's my dark. It's basically it's gonna be like a black and white, and I always go for the big black and whites, and then the tugboat being light against the dark background is going to be a center of interest, and it's awesome. I mean, it just was such a beautiful picture. I picked it up on Unsplash and on YouTube. The guy's name is there who took the picture, the photographer. Awesome, awesome shot. And so what I'm going to do for colors on this one is I'm going to go with a limited palette. This is going to be one where I'm going to stay on the one side of the palette, one side of the color wheel, I mean. My palette is the same thing. But I'm going to go with the reds, and I'm just going to go with darks. Almost black and red. And that's a really big combination nowadays. And I will make right in this area of the picture, and right in here, I'm going to put the sun right there. I'm going to make it shine right through that middle there, through that middle area. So again, always do a value study. If you're not doing a value study like this, then at least turn your photo black and white so you can see where the values, the big values. You need to have these big values. This is the big value pattern. This is my composition of dark against the light sky and the boat light. And then the water down here is kind of a grayish. So again, middle tone doesn't matter so much as the light and the dark, meaning black and white. Look for that first. All right. So let's go to our tabletop right away. And first we got a toast. Today beer comes from New Hampshire again because I didn't get out there to get anything new. But this is Harpoon, a Dunkin' Boston Cream beer. So this is going to be very interesting. A Dunkin' Boston Cream beer. See that? Look at that. Some New Hampshire and a Harpoon brewery. So toast everybody. Cheers. Cheers. Okay, wow, that is interesting. Very sweet beer. Okay, so we're going to start out with our lights like we always do. And if you have any questions, again, let me know on the side there, on the side on YouTube. Let's see who's all in here. We got Sue. Hey, Sue. Hey, Maria. Hey, Mill. Irene. Tina. Maura. Lynn. Thanks a lot for coming by. And also, oh, I forgot to mention that I do have on Facebook. I put together a new achieving goal a group, and I'll put that in my newsletter. But there's a group I put together on Facebook where I want you to show these paintings, and I'll give them critiques and have other people give critiques. So I didn't put that down in this video yet, but go to my Facebook page and see it there. I may put it in the comments of this thing later on. All right, so let's start out with our big areas. And so my big area, of course, of light is my sky and my water, right? So I'm just going to wet that all the way down, all the way through the boats. Don't worry about the boats. Again, if you got a question, ask away. And it can be, we had a great class on Zoom. And boy, the Zoom class, I may start doing those instead of the free YouTube. But then again, maybe I still do these because it took us 2.5 hours to do that class. And it was fun. It was fun, but it took a while. And we did a great painting. Here's the painting I did on the Zoom class, and this is the one we did as a Zoom class. And so we're going to be doing something like that in the next class when I come back from Florida in a week, after a week. So I'm wetting it just with water. And being that I'm just going to use dark, almost black colors, dark colors, and then I use definitely the red of the boat, so red and black with colors in it. I never not put just black, but I'm going to put a little bit of dark colors in there, like a blue tint, a cool, and a warms in there. And the sky, I am going to make, because this is the side of the color wheel with the orange, red, and yellows. I'm going to start out with the yellow orange to where the sun is going to be. I want the sun to peek out right there. So I'm going to just do that. And I washed my towel on my thing, so it's clean again. Look at that. Just bleach your towels. Buy a big towel and bleach it, and it comes right back again. So here we go. We're going to put that. And once you put it in the sky, you also put it right away into the water. And this is all wet right now. You got to realize it's all wet. It's all wet. I'm going to make that white right there. It's going to be a little bit of sun shining through there. It's going to hit down here. It's going to look beautiful in the water. And then we're going to go with a bluish violet. Velvet, it could be velvety. And so we're going to take a little bit of blue, a little bit of the lavender, and we're just going to put that in the sky up here. And it looks like there's some clouds up there, but again, make the clouds, have fun with the sky. Now, once it's wet, and one thing I taught in the class, in this Zoom class, was how to use enough pigment to control the washes. To take and be able to control that in a wet wash is by using a lot of pigment. The more pigment you use, and I've taught that already many times here on these Thursday night videos, is that you just go through and use a lot of paint if you want to stop it in a wet wash. And you need to have soft edges. It's nice to have soft edges in your work. And so that's how you do it. You wet it and then you float your pigment. Float that pigment. And it's almost, I want this to be grayer. I don't want it to be a blue sky. I kind of want it to be a little bit more gray. So I'm going to gray that up. How do you gray up blue, you ask? I'm going to take the lavender, but then you got to take the blue. What's the opposite of blue? Orange. So a little bit of orange in your blue, but not that one because it has more yellow in it, and blue and yellow make green. So that was wrong. So take more of a reddish orange with your blue, and it'll make a gray, and then a little lavender. Or, like I do have gray right here, I could just use gray. So buy some gray, and then they have neutral tint now available. You know, that's a really nice gray. And while I do that, I do right into the water right away too. Right into the water. I'm not worrying about the reflections of the boats yet. Some people say they like to do that right away. Is just put like if this boat's red, why not put a little red in there? You can. You know, that's not a big bad thing. Is put a little red in there. But I'm going to make it with a hard dark edge for the reflection anyway. So it's okay to put that in, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm worried more about getting the whole sky color into the bottom here. And it's darker to lighter, like this is darker to lighter. From the top, it's dark to a light. And actually, I gotta take some of the yellow out right here because I wanted to have the sun right there, right? Remember I said I wanted to have it really bright right there? So there, we went there. We wanted to come kind of down through that area. It's all about the light. I mean, the lighting is everything. And remember, 20% lighter. Look, it's already drying lighter. So I did it wrong. I thought it was looking great because it looks just like I wanted it. But of course, that's not how you do it. You have to make it 20% darker than you like it. Oops, I got my palette on so you can see it, huh? So here we go. A little bit darker. And one bad thing that you want to watch out for. Hey Joyce. Hey Sherry. Hey Sonia. Hey Lynn. Oh, I saw Lynn already. Thanks for coming by. So here we go. We're gonna put a little bit of gray, a little bit of orange in that blue, violet, and make it grayer. And I'm going for gray. I definitely want gray. I'm kind of going red and black is my thinking on this one. Kind of limited palette, but in my monitors it looks really blue. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit with a little bit of gray. You can even use black in there. I don't mind you using black if you want to dull something down. That can gray something up too. Look at how it's going to gray it up a little bit. As long as it's wet, you can keep on going in. And the darker I make my sky, the more this is going to shine right there. It's going to really, really shine the darker I make this on the top here. Hopefully when I get back from Florida after next week, I can get my studio going and get it ready for my videos. I just haven't had enough time lately with the holidays in there. And so here we just these reflections. I may put a few of them in there just to have them in. There's a little thing right here, there, this boat, and this is just the middle tone of those reflections, not the dark yet. The darks will come when I figure out how dark those ships are going to be. So pretty much I'm going to watch now. Again, let me show you something that you can do to, you know, I would tell a lot of times people that if you want to make a cloud, the way not to do it is to take a paper towel, because what they do is you put your paper towel down, and what you're doing is you're sucking up the water. And then, of course, you're going to get a hard edge cloud if you want something like this. So what I do is I wipe it out, the pigment, but then I get fresh water and I put it back in there without the yellow. So always, if you're ever going to do like a cloud and you're using paper towel, that's not the way to do it, because if you do it with it, let's say, I'll show you right here. I didn't want to make clouds in here, but let me just show you. If you take paper towel, I see a lot of beginners do this, where they go like this, and they think that's going to be a really nice soft edge cloud. Well, it's not going to be soft edge because you just took the water out of there. And so, I mean, you keep on going like this and you keep on tapping it. I guess if you would keep on watching it until it dries, then it would be okay. But what you have to do is you have to, right away, as soon as you take the pigment out, put water back in there. Because water, then it'll seep down a little bit more, or just dampness in there, so that if you leave it dry, of course it's going to make a hard edge, so you get a hard edge cloud. And I really don't want that cloud up there because I didn't want clouds in this. Well, I want clouds, but so I'm just going to go right over that. Didn't want that. And that's okay. Now let's say the moon's on that side. So sun's over here, moon's over there. Okay. Also, in this picture, there's a little bit of steam and, you know, fog or the smoke coming out of this little guy here. So I'm going to take my small little brush right now, and I'm going to put that in there right now, because it's all wet, and what a great time to sit there and put soft edges when it's wet in the wet, right? So I'm going to put a little bit of the steam coming right off of here, right over the sun. A little bit of smoke, I mean, from this from that ship. Put that in there right away. Now you can't do it later. If you do it later, it's going to be, you have to re-wet the whole area. This, might as well do it now while it's wet. Over here, there's some background stuff that is also looks a little bit smoky. So there, I'm just going to kind of put the dark around it, almost kind of like this. It's smoking up through here, and give it soft edges. Again, soft edges are done how? Wet in the wet. And see, look at this beautiful little smoke coming out of that tugboat that's tugging this boat right there. So I'm kind of stalling here a little bit because I just wet everything, and so now I have to wait for it to dry. So I'm gonna take another sip and say, hey, cheers, guys. So Joyce wants to know how I'm going to handle this. Of course, this being my favorite subject matter, the boats and ships, and ever since I've been there this summer, I spent a lot of times in Duluth this year, and they have tons of ships there. And boy, I got some great pictures. I'll be doing a lot of bigger scenes from. This is, again, a small quarter sheet. And for those of you who don't know, quarter sheet is about 11 by 15, about approximately size as paper. And but it's a good size to do these demonstrations, and for students, it's a great size to do. That's all I have students work is this size. But so give me some questions here. I'm stalling. I'm letting it dry so I can keep on going in a second. So here we go. I don't have a hair dryer. I totally forgot to get a hair dryer in here, but let me put a little bit of this dark in here in the background. It's gonna be a little bit darker there. I guess if I use enough paint, it'll have a soft edge, and so that's not a bad thing to have either. So let's, this is probably dry. This is dry. Now let's go in right in here. So basically that was all my lights. I mean, all my lights were done. Even the ship has lighter, but those are middle tones. So again, middle tones are not lights. They could be lights, and they're part of lights and darks middle tones. They can go either way. I consider these the dark area when I do the ship. Even though they're white ships, this is going to be a shadow on there. That's going to be dark, and so I'm going to do that as a dark middle tone. And then, of course, the red on the tugboat is going to be nice and bright and red. Let me see if I can put some of that in there. And when you know your subject matter really well, like I took tons of pictures of tugboats that were in Duluth and stuff, and you notice that all the tires on the side of the thing, I can't even see tires on the side of that boat, but there are a few of them there. So you just make things up because I've drawn enough boats, I know what they are. So know your subject matter, learn your subject matter, learn what it is that what makes it, what makes the boat, what is on it. It just helps you out so much when you go to paint it, and then draw it especially, because if you're drawing it and can't quite see what it is in the photo, you can make it up. You can just make it up yourself and figure it out just by knowing the knowledge of the boats that you've been looking at. And so why am I doing the boat right now? Because it's a middle tone and it's the red, and again, I'm waiting for everything else to dry. So we're just gonna go over here, come around. Oh, we got a bunch of questions here. Oh, good. How do you decide what parts of the scene to include or omit? Oh, nice, good question. On this one, if you looked at the actual original one, I cut off a lot of the sides and the bottom because they had it farther back, and so I pulled it up a little bit. And how much you would leave out and what you put in is kind of up to you when it comes to how detailed you get. Some people who are very loose hardly put any detail in, and those who are like photographic artists, they put everything in, every little line, every little bug, every little seagull that flies in there. So that's up to you, kind of what you want to put in and what you want to leave out. What is that short stubby thing next to your brushes just left? Oh, okay, that I was gonna. Thanks for Tina. Thanks a lot for asking that, because I was gonna tell you what this is. Let me show you. Here, on the top of the scene, you see my value study. That's what I use for my value study. It's just a little thing where it has a lead in there, and like a round, thick piece of lead, and it's a very soft lead, so I can cover a big area really quickly. Let me just show you on a sheet of paper here. Get a sheet of paper. So here's a sheet of paper. If I'm like, I can draw real thin lines by just touching really lightly. But if I go hard, I can make a really big dark, dark, dark. And this way I can do my big lights and dark, my value studies. I can do the value study very fast and very easy. And so that's what that was for. It was for doing my value study. So, and you can also use, they call them ebony pencils. I don't know if you've seen the black ebony pencils. I think I have one over here somewhere. No, I don't. But they have ebony pencils that are very thicker lead, a little bit thicker lead. That's really good for doing value studies. Because value studies, you want to do the big broad strokes of light and dark. And so you want to make it black. And these pencils turn out black. They really turn out really dark. Okay. All right, so that's enough stalling. I think I can just put this up here, and I think it dried by now. All right, so let's get back to our bigger brush, the big round brush. So I'm gonna work from the left to the right on this one because those boats are all about the same area. You know, they're all behind this tugboat kind of thing, or this one's next to it. But I'm just gonna go in there and just go from left to right. That way I'm not going over with my hand when I go on. So I'm gonna take black, dark blue, violet, and then what I'm gonna do. Hey Lillian. Hey Artist Heart Studios. I'm gonna go here and do this little. It's supposed to be like a light area, like a white area, but even though something is white, if it's in shadow, it doesn't have to be white. It has to be just in the shadow. And so here I'm gonna. I always do the outline first, the hard edge, right? The outside edge of the boat is hard, and then I take water with any color you want. I'll make this maybe a little bit warmer. Put a little red in that dark. And then what colors are in there? Black, blue, red, violet, lavender. Just put it all in there. It's all going to be dark and it's all going to reflect. I'm going to stop at the water for now. Normally I would go through there, but I'm going to do all the water at once. I want to show you how to do water and reflections later on. So if I'm in my studio by myself, I'm doing those right away. You know, but that's okay. I don't have to do this right away on this one. And so now behind that, now see how this looks so dull and sharp right there. And in the picture, there's a little bit of a a curve to that. And so I take a little bit of lighter color, maybe even a little bit of white or gray. I'm just going to float it right on the top of the front here. And yes, it is an opaque color, but I'm putting it into a light, nice wash, a nice wet wash. It's something that the class, my Zoom class, was really surprised at. They were all like shocked that that can happen. And nice thing is that I can watch them all. That's where we all had two cameras, one on the work and one on their faces. And actually, we told everybody to turn off their face one because I wanted to see the work because there's so many people in the room I couldn't find them. So, but it was all good. So now we're going to go with a little bit more gray for the background dark because this is going to be where the sun is right there. Remember when we did the sun bursting through the tree? Well, this is the same type of thing. What we're going to do is we're going to make that dark, not as dark as a photograph, but when we get to where the sun is right here, it's burning. It's burning there. So we're going to take a little bit of my smaller brush and take a little bit of that orange and yellow, right? Remember we did this with the tree where we take and we make this really warm because the sun is shining right here and it's blurring out this area. And I know I need to have it dark right away because I want to get the tugboat to push forward. And I can still do that. I can still do that. Actually, I'll put a little black in here too. Like I said, I'm making this really a black and white type of, or a black and red type of painting. But that doesn't mean I'm just using black. I'm also going to use other colors besides the black. Though there are artists who that's all they use is their neutral tints and black. I'm going to switch around a little bit. And so I kind of step this down in the boat. How detailed you want that boat is up to you. And once it is wet, once this is wet, then you can put other colors in there, float other colors. Here I'm going to float a little bit of the orange, so it kind of looks like it's going from orange. I'm just going to put this little bit of yellow right there. See how it's going to look like the sun is going to be shining right there? It's not in the photograph, but I like, you know me, I like to make it look better than the photograph, and I think it'd be kind of fun to have the sun just peeking right through there where the smoke is and this little thing here. It's going to look awesome. I'm just going to put this in the very distance. I'm going to put a little bit of something here, something. And then right down here. Now this is going to be the sun right here. So in the photograph, there's nothing there, but I'm going to keep it, I'm going to leave it alone. Put the little dark side, but it's going to be, the sun is shining so bright down there that you're going to have that orange come through there. And I know this is kind of like detailed right from the get-go, but that's okay. You have to get it done. The trick in watercolor is to get things done. Get them done and then move on. Don't labor at them and do it more and more and more. Another wash, another wash, another wash. Get the wash done and move on. This is about the same height as that. Actually, it's not underneath it, is it? So I gotta put it more right here. The red, and then make this a little bit darker. And then I gotta wipe this off here a little bit. The paper towel. It's my center of interest, so I'm really watching it. I'm watching so I make that look good. That looks nice. All right, so let's move on to the next part of the boat. So now here, I'm gonna negative paint around this little thing, antenna and stuff on top of the boat. Same thing over here. Now I've got the smoke coming off of there that I gotta go around. And again, how detailed you get is up to you. It's up to you how slow you go, how you go in there, and what do you do to make it look, you know, like photographic, or do you make it fast, or is your style more loose? And it's up to you. And some people don't know what their style is, but then it's okay. Just keep on painting, and you'll automatically get a style on your own without even knowing it. Let's see, glad I could join you. Any questions? Nope, no questions. So let's just go with some more darks in here. And then, you know me, I don't like just one color. I like to put other colors in there. I try to think, is it cool colors or warm color? Back here, closer to this part, I'm going to make it warm because the sun is shining right here, so I can make that part of the ship warm. Now, suddenly you don't see the smoke because it's dark behind it, but I can still, later on, rub out a little bit of that. But it's important that I just get the shape of the boat. Negative paint the boat here a little bit. This is a little bit, I should have probably done this, the top parts first. Let me do that real quick. I just noticed that I should do the parts that are light white, but they're going to be in shadow because the sun is behind these boats. So even though these ships are white, they're going to be a light grayish blue, yellow. And that looks like it wasn't, oh, that's dry. So let me just put that in there real quick. And this, I'm just using the grays that are on my palette here. And then, of course, once it's wet, what do? You know me, throw a little bit of color in there. Here, a little bit of orange that's going closer to the sun. And it's not in the photo. I know it's not in the photo. I'm making that up. I want the sun right there. It's just something I want to do. You can do whatever you want. It's your painting. And so we're going to get down here. Get this. This is also the light part of the ship, so I thought I should put that in there right now. Let's get that in there. Get it done. The background, there's some smoke that's this bluish gray. So I might as well get that done real quick. And then get back to my big ship of darks. I should have done that first, but because that wasn't dry yet, and this was dry, that's the reason I started with the darks there. But normally you go from light to dark, darkest dark. Let's put a little bit more gray in there. A little droplet right there. Okay, now let's get our darks. Again, any questions, just let me know. And now that I have the new group on Facebook, the Achieving Gold group, I would like you to post your paintings on there instead of my Facebook page. Only because that way other people can, everybody who's in the group can answer and give some comments. And I also made it up there, so if you ever got a goal that you want to achieve, let us know what you're doing. We'd love to see and help you. I'd love to help you out. If you got a painting up there that you're having problems with, in your quest to be a better painter, just put it up there, and I will definitely give it my critique or give some suggestion what you have to do with it. I got the idea from Linda Kemp. She has the negative painting group that I know I watch once in a while, where it has to be negative painted your paintings. Mine just has to be water media. You just have to make sure that it is acrylic or no oils, and not oils yet, because I don't paint enough in oils to critique those, or so it's more water media, water medium. So I'm gonna make this down here. I'll put a link to that group on this site later, on this in the comment section. So you see, I'm just going through there, and I'm putting, and since I got all this blue on this one, and probably maybe do a little blue in here too. Just get a little bit of blue in there, just so it doesn't. It should all read together, nice and dark. And this is dark. And it looks kind of odd yet. It doesn't supposed to not look good yet. I mean, I'm doing the big areas right now. There's no detail yet. I'm kind of there's details like of the boat, but there's no single little details yet. So I can go in there. If you want to do it like totally where you're using just two colors, like limited palette, that's a good example and a good exercise to do too. If you ever want to learn just how to use the paint and how to do values, and not worry so much about the colors that you're using, take like two colors and then just like black and red. Just take those two colors and then do your whole painting in those two colors. A lot of people take like a blue and a brown too. They use for that kind of thing. That's what I used to do in school. In art school, we used to take ultramarine blue, or was it phthalo blue and ultramarine and burnt umber. We used to take and use those two colors to get really neat stuff. This back here, I'm not sure what's going on there, so I'm faking it by just putting a bunch of junk back there, tapping it. Remember, if you know everybody, just tap. Just get your nervous head twitch like this, and then just that's a bunch of stuff back there. And then when it dries, we'll put some more junk back there. It's not what's in the center of interest. This is the center of interest. So that I will go really nicely into and make sure that everything looks great there. All right, now we're going to go into this big boat. It's funny how you're working and you get the lights done and it's still not looking like anything. And then the very last 10 minutes when you're getting all the detail, all of a sudden everything kind of comes together. I've been watching some of my videos afterwards thinking if I should edit anything, but it's always like the very last 10 minutes that everything comes together and it actually looks like something. So your painting's got to go through the uglies, is what my instructor always told me. Got to go through the uglies. Like they don't look good until about the last part of the details a lot of times. So here we go. And so that's pretty much our dark and the ships. And then we got, once this is dry, we can get all our little detail junk in there. And so now we're ready for the reflections. So the reflections in the water, let me explain a little bit about this, is that if you're looking at the photo, and let me just go really quickly back to this value study. Hold on one second. So if you look at these, the waves on this one, there's a lot of waves. And the more waves you have, the less you're going to see of the big reflections. You're going to see more of the sky because it's rippled, and you're going to see a lot of the light from the sky up here. That's what's happening here. So the calmer the water, the more you'll see of the dark in the water. See how you don't even see hardly any of dark here of this boat and these things because it's rippled. The ripples on the water make you see the light, the sky more because it's hitting towards you. So what you want to do is you can decide, do I want that many ripples and do all that little lines, or do you make it a little more calmer, the water? And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the water just a little bit more calm than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make longer waves. So then this will just be like a big wave, and I usually use the color of the water, but for this reason, it's kind of like the only thing you need to know about if something is white, you can use any color. If something is like white for a shadow, it could be any shadow color, and reflection is the same thing. If it's white, the water. If the water was all blue, then I make it a darker blue. This is like a gray, so I can make it a dark gray, but it's like white and gray are kind of like this black and white. So it's white, so make it any color you like. And then later you put the color from the ship above it. So then I put a little bit of that into it also. So it's, and then leave a little spaces for the reflection of the white that you leave, or the what's underneath the light part is the wave. It's showing that the wave, and it can't go beyond this edge. It doesn't bend. The reflection doesn't bend farther away. It's just like a mirror. And I can do a little bit more waves in here. Those are ugly waves I just did. But luckily they were light. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit lighter. And so I'm gonna put a little bit more of that red that I have in there, and then put it right down into the water. After you get it done, you do that after. First you do the color of the water, then you do the color of what's above it. So I'm gonna go down here and just give it, every once in a while break up that reflection, because that's the wave going through. And back here it looks like this goes down a little bit, and you can make some grayer ones. And then you can also make waves just in general. You can make like little lines going through, the dark lines going through there too. Same thing with this side. You can make a few of the waves. And again, it depends on how wavy you want to make the scene. How many waves are there? Is it really wavy, or is it less wavy and more still water? Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make that reflection red. So I'm just going to go here and make this dark around. I'm using these dark colors that I already have in my palette. I used them already on the boat, so I can use them a little bit right into the water, right into the reflection. All right, and this reflection way up there, that part of the ship, that color is going to be way down here. So then I'm going to use that color. I'm just going to use a little bit of gray down here, whatever color that I used up there, and I'm just going to kind of bring that in here. And of course is this going to be the boat, but the water is distorted, so you don't have to worry to make it exactly like what it is up above. It can be, and also these towers that are going to be in there later, those I got put in later, because when I put it in, then I'll just right away put a little bit of a line down there. I don't have to do that right away. I can do that later. Now this big boat, let's get the reflection in there. It's just, to me, water and boats and stuff is just my favorite thing. It's always been my favorite thing to paint. As much as cities, even, you know, it's just, they're so much fun. I love the water. I grew up on the water in the Chain Lakes area here in Illinois. And I worked at a marina right across from the high school where I went to. Worked at a marina. I was a boat rigger. I put windshields and engines on boats. And so I think that has a little bit to do with it, living in this area and actually working at a marina. It's just fun. And the sounding of the clinking, and when you go to the East Coast and you just smell that salt water too, it just gets into you. So now I'm going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of lines like it's wavy. Now this has a little bit of purple in it, and so I'm going to make sure I get that into the water too. Again, you can make a little bit darker lines. And again, the final touches of the really dark parts I'm going to do later. Now I'm going to go in here and get my darks into the boat part. And do that right into the water. I got to remember, I'm going to put the light in there, the reflected light. Almost forgot about that. I want the sun to shine down there. It's just going to shine in the water. And just follow your picture. I mean, if you look at the picture, you see what happens. But if you're making things up, just remember to know what you're painting. I mean, go out there and look at it. You just can't make something up if you've never seen it before. I've seen things before. I've painted things before, so that's how I'm making things up. You can't make it up unless you see it in another photo, or you've seen it literally in the way you want to paint it. So take a shot of it outside, so it looks like I'm almost ready to do the details. This is, again, it's all the big stuff, right? This is all the big darks right now. I'm getting all the big darks, and now I'm going to get a nice dark red through here. And I know I probably should get it really bright red there, but usually in the water, it doesn't reflect the really bright when it's wavy. It doesn't reflect the brightness of the color more than it does just to get dark. And that's just looking. I've seen that. You know, I've been to enough boats this summer. I actually sailed on Lake Superior twice, and you learn a lot by looking and just looking at what you're painting. Even when you take the photographs, a lot of times things change in the photographs, and they're not as real as they are as when you see them real. So check it out with the nature, with the natural eye. You know, look at it, and then keep it in your memory what happens. And also, since I use white, some of the stuff that I cover over, I can pretty much put back in there with a white later, like reflections and stuff. I'm going to keep that light because I want that sun to shine right through there. All right, I guess it's detail time. Yay, my favorite part. And we have still got 20 minutes. There we go. See? 20 minutes for doing our details. And so I got my smaller brush now, and so I'm going to go in here and first off do the background boats and get this as part of the shadow part of that boat. Oh, I did that wrong. That was light. Oh well, I'm making this dark. My sun's over here, so I figured this would be darker. I'm going to put this little smokestack up here. Once, I don't care how small something is, once you wet it, you can throw other colors in there. Doesn't matter how small, once it's wet. I'm going to put a little red in there, only why? Because that way it'll match this little red a little bit. Or maybe a little bit of the brilliant orange. Just so, again, I like matching things up from other parts of the painting. It looks like this is a little bit darker on the side of the boat. It kind of goes like this. Blend it into that side. Little line across. There's no windows on that side, but there's windows there. And then there's the captain's, what do they call that? The bridge. Wow, I knew that. How did I know that? The bridge. There's where the bridge, where the captain sits. So I'm going to put the bridge in. A couple little windows here. Look at all these darks. Now, I always turn my painting sideways when I'm doing lines because it's more like I'm writing. So I like to do this in this fashion because it's easier to go like this with your brush than going down with your brush because it's like you're writing. This way it's like I'm writing, so I can just go like this. Watch, I can just put little dots in there for junk. And then what is this? This is another smokestack. I'm just going to go straight across. And again, it's easier for me to just go like that than it is going downwards. Like doing a line like that is not an easy thing to do. Little dashes like that are easy, that's fine, but not this long things. So I'm going to go in there and get all these nice little, this back here I'm going to go with a little bit more of a gray. Not too dark because it's farther back, so I'm going to push it back a little bit. Don't know what it is. Looks like cranes. These are all cranes back there, so you're not going to put every bolt and nut in that. You're just going to fake it. There's a lot of stuff going on back there, and as long as there's a bunch of shakiness in your hand, you're going to be good. See, how did I do that? I don't even know what I'm doing here. See that? Now here we got the crane going way up there. Look at that. Some people probably don't want to put that in there, but I'm thinking this is all very industrial area. Why would I not put that in there? It looks so neat that it is in there. A lot of people think, well, why do you want to paint a picture of a crane? Well, it's just realistic. It looks cool. We used to paint a lot of barns, and the ones we always liked were the best were the ones that were run down. It's kind of funny because everybody would be like, people who are not artists, they would be taking pictures for me, and they'd take me these really beautiful farms with, beautiful red barn and just perfect. And I'm going ones that are dilapidated, they're just terrible looking. But all of us did that because it's just more interesting. Now I'm gonna switch my brushes because this is fine for like thicker, but then I'm gonna use my rigger for small little lines. Any questions? I don't see any questions. Nope, not yet. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And I will get to those names when I get back from Florida on my next Zoom class, my next test. Because we're testing things out to make sure it works really well. And So far, the first one worked out really well. It's kind of fun. You get to talk to people and see people and talk to them while they're painting. You know, I was actually, the only thing that I found very interesting is that it's very quiet when you're doing a Zoom meeting, because I've got everybody's mic off, so all I can do is hear myself. And so I'm like, oh boy, this is everybody's painting, but it's really quiet. Except for every once in a while, somebody would have their mic on, and I'm like, oh, that's good, keep it on. So here I'm going to do a couple of lines, and then I'm going to turn it back sideways again so you can kind of see. Let's see, is that a little too light back there? This is kind of weird, that round thing there. I'm going to go back into that bow, make it a little bit darker. Something's kind of happening weird there, like a little round shape. So I'm going to wet this area again. I'll make it a little bit darker and just let pigment float in there. So let's see, what's this on there? We can make this a little bit darker. Alright, now we gotta get some more darks in there. Some more darks coming farther forward. Here we get the top of this boat. I'm using my rigger now so I can get this really dark back there. That's almost too dark, that one right there, because it's farther back. And so what do I do on that? That's a little bit too dark. Or no, you know what I'll do? I'll just make this darker. Because I don't mind it being a little bit darker, so this will be kind of close to the same farthest away. The lines going through there. Let's get hurry up here. I don't want to make sure I get this done in time. All right. Now this little thing right there, you know what color that's going to be, right? That's going to be orange, right? Because why? Because the sun is right here and it's burning it. Burning the sun on there. And the same thing with this stuff. The sun's on this side. Don't know what it is, but it's just really bright right there. And then I don't know what's this on top of this boat. Bunch of garbage. Here, this is actually something in the background. This is not on this boat. This is actually, I think, another boat behind it. But that's okay. Just make it up. It's an antenna of some type, you know. It's just, that's all it has to say. It's an antenna. And we got this. How much time we still got? Oh, we still got plenty of time. Always gotta watch that clock. Again, how detailed you want it, how perfect you want it, is all up to you. It's all about the time and how you like to paint. Don't worry if you're not going as fast as I am. You know, I'm doing it because I want to get it in an hour, and that doesn't mean you have to get it in an hour. If I'm going slower, I'm doing it a little bit differently. Like in my studios, I do it a little bit differently, so I don't have to rush through and make it an hour. So I go and do a little bit longer. All right, now we gotta get our little boat done here. And so on the side of this boat, we're gonna make it yellow because it's reflecting, the sun's just kind of reflecting the side of that boat. It's coming down into the water. Boy, if we're making it kind of gray, it's not gray at all, is it? Oh well. Sometimes it doesn't go exactly the way you want it, but I want it to be a little bit more moody than this, but it's still moody, I guess, in a bright way. So we're going to do a little negative painting of the windows of this boat. I spent a little bit more time on this one because this is the main boat. This is the tugboat. This is the center of interest. So I want to spend a little bit more time here and make sure it looks good. Give it all the details you can possibly give it. Now that's wet that side, so I can't go do that right at the moment. Give it a couple little things here and there. The tires, oh yeah, the tires is good. What should I use for that? I'll use a small round. I haven't used my small round yet. Now this has got all too much blue, so watch this. I'm gonna rub out. Rub out a little bit of this blue. I'm looking at the picture, and this is a little bit lighter. And so, nice thing about this Stonehenge aqua paper is you can rub out. So real lightly, just rub out a little light right there. So the side is not the same as the top. It's a little bit lighter, just like in the photograph. Now I'm taking solid black and purple. I'm just going to go in here and do some windows. Which the place is still wet, so now they're going to bleed all over the place. Oh well. This is a little bit dark. Front here. The darkest darks, when you push them and make them really intense, hard edged, and really black, they pop out just like a highlight would pop out. So that's another way of making something pop forward, is by making it really dark. I call them dark highlights instead of white highlights. Like if you make something really dark, hard edged, and really contrasty, it's going to pop forward. So now I'm going to put this into water right away. And now we're having fun with reflections. Watch this. Oh yeah. Get my rigger. I think that's my favorite thing, is just go in here and make tons of reflections from everything. Just tons of little reflections and squiggly lines. Call them little squiggly wormy lines. Jill, I guess I do make it look easy, but I've been doing this for a long time. But you can do it. You don't have to do it this fast. And it may be a little bit harder for you, because I've done boats, a lot of boats, so it's definitely easier for me because I enjoy doing it. That's another thing. Paint stuff that you love and know a lot about, because it's so much fun painting them then. I mean, I'm having so much fun with this. This is my subject matter. I just love, in Duluth, there's a photographer, Paul Sinenko, or Paul something like that. But he paints every ship that comes into, or he photographs every ship that comes into Duluth. And I'm his friend on Facebook, and man, does he get some great shots. One of these days I gotta ask him to use a couple of those so I can paint them. So now I'm going in here and just detailing the heck out of the boat. And it still looks like it's a little wet, so I can't put the windows in completely, I don't think. Oh, maybe I can. The thicker the paint is, the easier it is to not have it run all over the place. And then we'll also put some light in there. I'm going to put some white in there later, just because I can. I like putting little ropes and stuff and little things like in there. Oh, I forgot the rope that's going to come in there. That's going to be real fun. There's actually a rope that's, and little highlights to highlight things like these tires. The tops of the tires you can highlight. I mean, I could put masking fluid in there first and do all that, but I'm just too lazy. I'm just going to do it with white. How much time do we get? Oh, we still got time. I'm going to put a little bit of gray on here. And hopefully that'll dry in time so I can put white in there. And now let's get some more reflections. Let's get some more reflections all over the place. And also you can do reflections on top of reflections. Like there's, sometimes there's like a rope hanging down or something. And so you can reflect that on top of the darks that's in here. Like I can do another little dark on top of a dark. All right. Any questions? Nope. Now, this red and this orange is nowhere else, and that's kind of bugged me a little bit. So we need one other place to put some of that red, that bright. And so what I'm going to do, it just has to be a small little touch too. So watch this. I'm going to make this boat over here. So I'm going to take some pure red. I mean, if this was all black and red, then it'd be okay to keep that just in one spot, but I'm going to put some over here. I'm going to make it bright red, because the sun is over here anyway, so if there's something that's kind of red, just a little bit right there, and one little bit over here. It's amazing with just a little bit of red somewhere else will kind of bounce it off a little bit. A little bit of bouncing. And now this little gray back there, That's going to reflect in gray into the water. So that whole big thing down there, I'm just going to put in here as a reflection way in the distance. Look at that. So my water basically is saying that it's calmer than in the picture. Because if it's really ripply, you wouldn't see all those reflections. So I'm saying to the viewer that yes, my water is a little bit more still than is in the photograph. So I'm doing different values of reflections. And last but not least, white. I love it. Oh, but first, cheers, everybody. See what this tastes like again. I didn't taste it yet. Wow, that is weird. Boston cream, like I'm drinking a donut. When you put in white, does it have to be thick paint? Nope. No, it can be watery, but use titanium because titanium is an opaque white. Don't use Chinese white. Chinese white is not an opaque white. It's a transparent white, so you're not going to do very much. You don't have to do it really thick. I do it really watery. And if you look right now, my red has a lot of blue in it. My white has a lot of blue in it. So I may have to clean it out first before so I'll take my bigger brush and my paper towel and clean this out a little bit and then just dab in there, get rid of that blue, throw that away, and then go in and get some nice thick, not thick per se like on your brush, it just has to be wet. Wet and like you do all the other paints. When you want it thicker, but it has to run, so you have to make it wet. So let's say like I can't do there because it's still wet right there. So there's a little bit of right there, a little line, and then there's a little bit of line in there. It just gives it sparkle. I love putting white in here. It gives it sparkle. And yeah, it's cheating, I guess. Go ahead, I'm cheating, but it just looks so cool. Little banners here. There's a little dots and such. Here, the name of the boat is da. And then we go here, a little bit of, what the heck is on my knee? Oh, stupid, one of those stinky bugs. I don't know how they get in this house. Stink bugs, those stink bugs. So then we're gonna go like this. A little bit of a, again, need enough water that it runs off your brush, but use titanium white. I did not use Prussian blue in the sky. I used, remember the gray? I used some gray and lavender and my horizon blue. But no Prussian blue. I didn't use Prussian blue in that. So now I'm just going to 3 more minutes of white. Then it'll be 7:30. And then we'll be done. See that? I'm not gonna put that. I can't put that wire rope in. You're gonna have to see that later on because well, I actually do part of it because it's wet right there, and I don't want to. Where he's pulling the boat, he's gonna go right there. So, and let's see what else we can do. A little bit of this, and especially remember a little sparkle, little dots. I forgot to mention that. So sun, you can do little dots and sparkle. And so down here too, little dots to sparkle the sun, like it's so shiny right there. Okay, I think that's about it. I'm looking at it now. Any questions? Any more questions? And again, please, this time, instead of putting on my Facebook page, or if you're not a group member yet, sign up, or because I have to let you. To post something, I have to approve it, which is a good thing, I think, because then I can also comment on it right away too. So if you send it and post it on there, I have to approve it to post it on the group. And then while I approve it, I also usually write a little thing stating when I think about it. And so that's kind of a good thing. I think that's a little bit better than just posting it on the site without anybody making any comments. So if you don't want that, that's fine too. You can put it on my website, or not website, but on my Facebook page. And you just get the tape off of here. Remember, always pull your tape away from the painting. Always like this, away from the picture. reflections of masts. Did I get them? I think I did. Didn't I get the most of the reflections? Maybe of this, of the windows maybe in there too. See the little reflections of the windows. There's the side of the thing. Not good enough. So let me put this over here. So let me see what we got here. So I'm way in the corner here. Oh, so I guess we can put it down here today. Well, guys, thanks again for another Thursday. Again, next Thursday, I'm going to be down in Florida, and I have a class all day. So I'm not sure if I got enough time to do one in the evening, but look for it on my website, and then we'll see if we're doing one, or if I'm not doing one. I'm definitely going to do a demonstration no matter what. I'll probably do a demonstration on the spot, like plein air, if anything, because it is going to be warm down there, and I can do that outside, and just make sure there's nobody around me. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Sorry, I just saw this. Got the rest of the. There we go. Okay, now I got it. All right, well, guys, thanks again for dropping by, and cheers, 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 cheers. All right, bye-bye, guys. See you next week.